Have you ever stared at a lottery ticket and thought, if I win, everything will finally change? We've all had that moment. Not just craving money, but craving relief. Relief from stress, from uncertainty, from the exhausting cycle of just getting by. But here's a question for you. What if your real jackpot on March 29th isn't in numbers, but in how you align with life itself? In today's video, we're uncovering 6 lucky numbers, plus 1 powerful bonus, each rooted in Buddhist teachings, astrology, and inner wisdom. Not superstition, symbolism. These numbers carry energy that can help you reconnect with clarity, joy, purpose, and peace. Because the truth is, most people don't feel unlucky. They feel disconnected from themselves, from what matters, from what feels real. So today we're not chasing luck, we're attracting it from the inside out. To kick off this journey, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss content filled with wisdom and transformation. And here's a little challenge to shift your energy. Comment below, I welcome growth and harmony into my life. Just by doing that, you're planting a seed of intention. And trust me, that's powerful. Ready? Let's begin. 1. Lucky number 3. The energy of creative flow. Let me ask you a simple but powerful question. When was the last time you did something? Not because you had to, but simply because it made your soul smile. Maybe it was humming your favorite song in the shower, or doodling absent-mindedly on a napkin, or telling a silly joke that made someone laugh until their eyes teared up. That feeling? That's the energy of the number 3, and it's something we're being called back to, especially on this transformative date, March 29th. In numerology, 3 is known as the creative communicator, but I like to call it the rhythm of aliveness. It's the pulse that reminds us we're not just here to survive, we're here to express, to connect, and to celebrate life through joy. In Buddhist philosophy, creativity isn't about showing off. It's not about applause or followers. True creative expression is about truth. It's the spirit revealing itself. I once met a woman named Lynn in Vietnam. She was 65, gracefully retired, and every morning she'd sit by a busy corner with her sketch pad. She never sold her drawings. She didn't even show them to anyone. One day I asked her why she kept drawing. Her answer has stayed with me ever since. Because it reminds me, I'm still here. I still feel. That's enough. That's the essence of number 3. It's about reclaiming your inner artist, speaking your truth with color and courage, remembering that joy is your birthright, not a luxury. We live in a world that praises busyness, calendars full, meetings packed, tasks stacked high. But in chasing productivity, we often lose something precious, our playfulness. Number 3 comes as a gentle nudge to return to that lightness, especially for those in their 30s, 50s, or 70s, the so-called serious ages of life. It's easy to forget the value of laughter, of childlike curiosity, of creativity without consequence. But 3 whispers, it's never too late to make art, or make someone smile, or make your heart sing again. So this week, let the energy of 3 lead the way. Write that poem you keep putting off. Call that old friend who always made you laugh. Wear that bright, ridiculous shirt that lifts your mood. Dance barefoot in your kitchen just because the music moves you. Because here's the thing. Joy is magnetic. Joy is healing. Joy is lucky. And the more you allow joy to move through you, the more aligned you become with the energy of abundance. As the Buddha once said, with our thoughts, we make the world. So let those thoughts be colorful. Let your spirit be light. Let your heart speak in the language of laughter. Because the world doesn't just need your work, it needs your joy. 2. Lucky number 4. The patience of the builder. Let's talk about a number that doesn't make headlines. It doesn't dazzle, it doesn't shout, but it shows up every single day. That's the power of number 4, the energy of the builder. In a world addicted to speed and results, number 4 is your quiet reminder that the things worth having are built slowly, brick by brick, moment by moment. Think of the strongest structures in the world. Temples, bridges, homes that last generations. They weren't rushed. They were carefully crafted with patience and intention. I remember meeting an elderly Japanese craftsman named Hiroshi during a trip years ago. He carved wooden bowls by hand, not by machine, not in bulk. Just him, a small knife, and a deep sense of presence. Each bowl took weeks to finish. When I asked if he ever got tired of the repetition, he looked up, smiled gently, and said, "No, because with each cut, I become calmer. Each bowl teaches me something new about myself. That is enough." That's the spirit of 4. It's not glamorous, but it's everything. In Buddhist teachings, enlightenment isn't a thunderbolt that zaps you awake. It's a series of small, intentional, mindful steps, repeated over time. Just like building a peaceful life, cultivating wealth, improving your health, or healing a broken heart. None of it happens overnight, and yet all of it is possible with consistency. Number 4 represents discipline without rigidity, order without obsession, stability without fear. It is ruled by Saturn, the planet of responsibility and time, not instant gratification, but long-term growth. This week, take a pause and reflect. Where in your life are you craving quick wins when what you need is a plan? What area is falling apart because there's no structure or system? Where are you avoiding the small steps, hoping for a miracle leap? It could be your finances, your health, your relationships, or even your spiritual practice. But number 4 doesn't judge. It simply says, start where you are. Build one step at a time. Progress is sacred, even when it's slow. And in Buddhism, there's a simple but profound truth. A jug fills drop by drop. This is the path of the builder. So maybe today is the day you recommit to your morning meditation. Clean out one corner of your home. Begin saving $1 a day. Set one clear boundary. Or even just breathe with intention for 60 seconds. It doesn't need to be grand. It just needs to be real. Because when you build with care, patience, and purpose, the life you dream of will rise to meet you. So let number 4 guide you this week. Be steady, be grounded, and trust that the seeds you plant today, no matter how small, can become something unshakable. You don't need to rush. You just need to begin. 3. Lucky number 7, the seeker within. Number 7 is unlike the others. It doesn't live in the hustle of the marketplace. It resides in the quiet corners of a temple, in the breath between thoughts, in that sacred space where wisdom begins to whisper. While others chase after what's shiny and fast, the energy of 7 belongs to the seeker, the one who no longer asks, "What can I get?" But instead, "What does my soul truly need?" Because sometimes it's not more money, more success, or more things we need. It's stillness, awareness, and clarity. Let me tell you a story. A man I once knew, let's call him Michael, won a small lottery prize, about $20,000. He was thrilled. For a moment, it felt like life had finally turned in his favor. He bought a new phone, cleared a few bills, and splurged on a vacation. But within a month, the money was gone. he was back in debt, back in anxiety. Nothing changed, except this time, he felt more empty. He looked at me one day and said something I'll never forget. What I really needed wasn't money. It was peace. I didn't know that until after. That's the truth behind number 7. It teaches us that not all rewards are external. The biggest jackpots are often internal. Wisdom over impulse, purpose over possessions, insight over illusion. In numerology, 7 is linked to Neptune, the planet of dreams, intuition, and higher consciousness. And in Buddhism, that energy is mirrored in the path of right mindfulness, the call to be present, not distracted. 7 doesn't demand answers. It invites questions. What truth have I been avoiding? Am I listening to my inner compass, or just reacting to the world's noise? Do I even know what peace feels like anymore? This is a number that doesn't push you to do more. It gently asks you to be more aware. Try this. Take a slow walk without your phone. Journal for 10 quiet minutes. Meditate for even just 2 minutes today, not to fix anything, just to listen. Because in that stillness, you'll begin to notice. The noise outside fades. The wisdom inside returns. The Buddha once said, "Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without." And that's the essence of 7. It's not about chasing luck. It's about recognizing that clarity is the true abundance. And once you have clarity, the right decisions, the right timing, and yes, even the right opportunities begin to flow. So if you've been feeling overwhelmed, scattered, or disconnected lately, let number 7 guide you back to yourself. Because when you finally pause to hear your own inner truth, that's when real transformation begins. 4. Lucky number 11, the master teacher and visionary. If number 7 asked you to pause and reflect, number 11 asks you to rise. This isn't just a number, it's a summons, a spiritual wake-up call. In numerology, 11 is what they call a master number. A rare vibration of heightened awareness, intuition, and inner purpose. It's not here to make you feel comfortable. It's here to make you feel honest. And sometimes, that honesty feels messy, confusing, even painful. But it's also necessary. Let me tell you a story. A friend of mine, let's call him David, had worked in corporate finance for over 20 years. His job paid well. He had a nice apartment, traveled occasionally, and from the outside, life looked successful. But one morning, over a quiet cup of coffee, he said to me, "I feel like I'm living someone else's life." That was his 11 moment. He didn't quit that day. But something shifted. He started journaling. He asked himself questions he had avoided for years. What legacy am I leaving? Is this aligned with what I truly value? Is this the life my soul signed up for? 3 years later, he was mentoring underprivileged teens in an inner-city art program. His salary dropped by half, but his energy doubled. He laughed more, slept better, felt alive. He had become the teacher he never had. That's the vibration of number 11. Heightened clarity, spiritual leadership, big picture truth. In Buddhist teachings, the mind is the source of all creation. What you think, you become. And number 11 expands on that. So think with intention, live with vision, act with integrity. This number isn't about following the path. It's about becoming the path. It's for those who are ready to break cycles, challenge the norms they were handed, step into a higher version of themselves, even if it's unfamiliar. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Growth doesn't always feel graceful. Awakening isn't always peaceful. Sometimes it looks like losing a job, Ending a relationship or realizing that everything you worked for isn't what you truly want. But 11 reminds us that breakdown might be a breakthrough in disguise. So this week, ask yourself with courage, what truth am I avoiding? What version of me is trying to be born? What must I release to rise? Don't be afraid to walk away from the script the world gave you. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to illuminate. Let 11 be your guiding light. Not loud, not dramatic, but steady, wise, and deeply awake. Because at the core, 11 doesn't ask you to follow. It asks you to lead with light. 5. Lucky number 26. The Harmonizer of life cycles. Some numbers push you to act. Others invite you to pause. But number 26? It feels like a deep breath after a long cry. A quiet morning after a sleepless night. The stillness that reminds you you're allowed to begin again. In numerology, 26 is known as the Harmonizer. It merges the vibration of 2, partnership, support, connection, with the energy of 6, healing, nurturing, and compassion. Together they create something profound, balance, renewal, emotional wisdom. Not just in your schedule, not just in your relationships, but in the seasons of your life. I once met an old widower named Arthur. He was 72, and every afternoon, like clockwork, he'd sit on a park bench feeding breadcrumbs to the birds. We spoke one day, and I gently asked if he ever felt lonely. He smiled softly and said, "For a long time, yes. But then I realized, seasons change, and so must I." That line never left me. It's what number 26 is all about. Letting go with grace, healing without rushing, moving forward not because you've figured it all out, but because you trust that change is part of life's rhythm. In Buddhist teachings, karma isn't punishment. It's not judgment. It's natural law, cause and effect. What you nourish grows. What you neglect fades. And every cycle, birth, loss, grief, growth, has its place. So this week, instead of forcing forward, try asking yourself, am I in a season of planting? Be patient, water the soil, trust the unseen. Am I in a season of rest? Don't guilt yourself into movement. Healing is progress. Am I in a season of release? Let go without shame. Grieve what no longer fits, and bless it for what it taught you. Number 26 teaches us that being stuck doesn't mean you're broken. It might simply mean you're not supposed to move yet. You're meant to feel, reflect, breathe. The cycle is completing, and something new is being prepared for you. Think of the moon. It disappears every month, but we don't panic. We know it will return, slowly, gently, in its own time. That's the wisdom of 26. Let go of rushing. Stop judging your life by productivity. Begin honoring your cycles instead. So this week, light a candle. Journal about what no longer feels like you. Rearrange a room. Take a walk without music. Create space for a new season to arrive, on its own timeline. You are not behind. You are not late. You are becoming. Let number 26 remind you, you're allowed to rest. You're allowed to reset. You're allowed to rise again. This time, softer and wiser. 6. Bonus number 35. The balance between joy and transformation. And now, a quiet gift. If you've made it this far in our journey, it tells me something about you. You're not just here to chase luck. You're here because you want something deeper, something more aligned, more awake, more real. That's why we saved number 35 for last. This number doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't show up in flashing lights or jackpot dreams. It arrives quietly. When you're ready for a shift, not in your bank account, but in your being. In numerology, number 3 represents joy, creativity, and expression. Number 5 represents freedom, transformation, and movement. Together they form 35, the energy of evolving with heart. In other words, grow, but grow with joy. Change, but change with soul. I once had a dear friend, let's call her Clara, who went through a painful divorce. It wasn't just the end of a marriage, it felt like the end of an identity. She was lost, hollow, numb. But one day something shifted, not loud, not dramatic, just gentle. She picked up a journal and wrote her first honest sentence in months. I miss myself. That small act turned into more. She joined a hiking group. She started painting again. She allowed herself to cry, to laugh, to breathe. Within a year, she didn't just look different. She felt lighter, freer, more herself than she had in decades. That was her 35 moment. Not a jackpot, a rebirth. That's what 35 brings into your life. Reinvention, but with compassion. Movement, but without chaos. Transformation, but grounded in joy. In 2025, astrologers speak of powerful cosmic alignments, a collective invitation to shed what no longer fits and step into who we truly are. But here's the secret. Transformation doesn't have to be loud. It doesn't have to be a total life overhaul or a dramatic turning point. Sometimes it's as soft as saying no to what drains you, saying yes to what scares you, sitting in silence and finally hearing yourself again. The Buddha once said, "Change is never painful, only the resistance to change is." Let that sink in, because number 35 isn't about forcing change. It's about flowing with it, with kindness, with intention, with curiosity. This week, ask yourself, what am I clinging to that's ready to be released? What version of me is waiting patiently to emerge? What kind of growth would feel joyful, not just productive? Let this number remind you, you don't need to earn peace through suffering. You can evolve gently, laughingly, creatively, with love. Because sometimes the most radical thing you can do is to simply listen to your own life and follow it where it's trying to take you. So here we are. We've walked through 6 powerful numbers, 3, 4, 7, 11, 26, and 35. And each one carried more than the hope of luck. They carried a message, a mirror, a moment of pause. Because in the end, the true jackpot isn't about hitting the right number on a ticket. It's about hitting the right rhythm in your soul. It's the moment you stop chasing and start aligning. When you stop asking, how do I get more? And start asking, what truly makes me feel whole? These numbers aren't magic. You are. Your clarity, your courage, your calm presence in a noisy world. That's what transforms life. Not just on March 29th, but every single day after. So take this wisdom with you. Let number 3 remind you to create joy. Let number 4 teach you the strength of showing up. Let number 7 call you inward, to listen deeper. Let number 11 guide you to rise into your truth. Let number 26 help you flow with life's seasons. Let number 35 walk with you through joyful transformation. And above all, remember this. Peace is not something you win. It's something you remember. If this message stirred something in you, don't let it fade. Like this video, subscribe for more wisdom-filled content. And in the comments, type, I choose clarity and peace over chaos and chase. Let's make this more than just a video. Let's make it a movement toward mindful living, spiritual strength, and inner abundance. Your lucky numbers are just the beginning. Your awakened life is the real prize.